Hi, everyone. When I think about what today's culture calls strength, I think about explosions. I think about Marvel movies where Chris Evans only cries once in the 10 years he's been involved in them. Yet, in the movies that have been popular these days, in Star Wars, in Marvel movies, the most highest grossing films of the 2010s, it's, power means control, and the strongest people tend to hold things together amidst chaos. And I believed that for a long time. I believed that strength meant holding it together, that composure meant chaos. That composure meant courage. But I've always been drawn to stories where people fall apart, where emotion isn't a weakness, it's a force of nature. The kind of characters who love so hard it destroys them. In Orwell's 1984, love itself is rebellion. In the movie Gia, emotion is radioactive. It kills her and makes her unforgettable. Even in Joni Mitchell's album Blue, heartbreak becomes a masterpiece. We call these tragedies, but in reality it's just proof that a society cannot handle these intense emotions. It has to punish it. And yet, those are the moments that make us feel the most alive. Maybe I like messy stories because they remind me of a truth I keep forgetting, that breaking down isn't the opposite of being strong, it's the beginning of it. Because what's harder, pretending nothing gets to you or letting the world see what actually does? Maybe real power isn't control, maybe it's surrender, the willingness to stand there shaking and say, I feel this. That's where this all started for me, realizing that every story I loved wasn't about invincibility, it was about feeling too much in a world that tells me not to. Which makes sense, because honestly, we're living in our own kind of dystopia now. Not one ruled by 1984's Big Brother, but by detachment, where nonchalant is a compliment and chalant is not even a word, but we'll get to that later. But for now, maybe we can agree on this. If love was rebellion in 1984, then vulnerability might be ours. I've always hated small talk. It's performing humanity on a 5-second delay. But my generation doesn't really do small talk either. Instead, we've invented something even worse. I call this deflective talk. Someone might say something really vulnerable, like I haven't been feeling like myself lately at all, and just follow that with LOL. It's our way of bubble wrapping honesty. Like, yes, I'm spiraling, but people say that in a quirky way. LOL is the modern fig leaf. It hides our trembling, but also proves it's there. We're fluent in irony because sincerity feels dangerous. We joke about pain, and somehow through that humor, we're actually reaching for each other. It's kind of bizarre, but also beautiful. Still, I think there's a kind of magic that only happens when we take off that final layer of bubble wrap. When you say something honest without the emoji safety net. One winter, I wrote a Christmas card to my friend's chemistry teacher, which was totally unsolicited, kind of unhinged. But somehow it changed something. Now we talk in the hallway all the time, actually. And that moment taught me that vulnerability isn't collapse, it's generosity. It's saying the real thing even when no one asked for it. And when you do, something shifts. People see you. They remember that sincerity still exists in a world built on staged directions. Maybe that's why I hate small talk so much. Because I'm not looking to talk, I just want to connect. We live in a world that never stops talking. Even in silence, our minds buzz like full rooms. A few days ago, having forgotten my headphones at home, I actually was on the bus just in silence. And that felt so uncomfortable to me until I realized that I actually felt free eventually. Because for the first time in a long time, I met myself unscripted. We fill every pause with noise, anything to avoid the cracks. Our culture prizes authenticity, but only the kind that photographs well. Our culture, the real unfiltered moments, the ones that sting or soften or sit in the dark, don't sell. They can't be packaged or posted. Miss Lauryn Hill once said that her best art came from experience, not production. And I think that's the heart of it. If we can't bear our own silence, then we can't bear someone else's honesty. If we can't be vulnerable, we can't, how can we offer it to anyone else? So maybe the most radical act isn't sharing a secret or sending a message to someone. Maybe it's simply being still, letting the silence crack you open, because in that quiet, in that gap, vulnerability finally has room to breathe. But it's exactly in that brokenness, that vulnerability becomes radical. Every act of connection is a rebellion. Every truth you speak is resistance. Every risk you take to show up honestly is a tiny revolution. Tell your friends you love them so much that it hurts. Tell that freshman that you randomly saw who's wearing your favorite band's t-shirt that you love that band too. A text that says, "I miss you," a real apology, small things, but small is enough. Because in a culture that prizes attachment, caring fully is dangerous, and that's precisely why it matters. Idealism isn't childish, it's radical. It's saying, yes, the world is cracked and cruel and cynical, and still I will love, I will hope, I will connect, I will create. Let me be vulnerable with you right now. I almost didn't do this tech talk. I almost backed out of it yesterday because I wasn't prepared. But vulnerability doesn't guarantee safety or reward, but it guarantees reality. It guarantees connection, and connection, real, messy, unfiltered connection, is where courage lives. Because the revolution won't come as a battle cry. It will come as a whisper, as a text sent at 2 a.m., as the silence between two people who finally have the courage not to pretend. And in a world that numbs us, cynicizes us, flattens us, the courage to feel might just be what saves us. Thank you.